Welcome to Maritime SoftwareHub, the People Podcast. My name is Callum Beaumont, and today I'm really excited to be joined by Tue Rossell, who is the CEO of Konsius. Welcome, Tue, and thank you very much for joining the episode today.
Thanks, Callum, and thank you so much for having me and for the invitation. Very exciting to be here.
It's a real pleasure, and I'd love it. Perhaps if you could introduce yourself, tell us a bit about your background, and obviously then what you do at Konsius.
Yeah, sure. Again, my name is Tue Rossell. I've been in the maritime industry for, actually my whole career. I started out in Maersk, as everyone in the Danish maritime community does. And then I've been actually involved in crew management ever since. I've been working for ship owners, for ship managers. I've been working in operational roles, strategic roles, commercial roles. I mean, more or less the entire value chain when it comes to crewing. And some years ago, I started up Konsius. It was really based on a pain that I've seen in my during my career. I've always been a bit frustrated about that when in our industry, when we have been doing something innovative, we basically just taken a problem and in our part of the world, and then we have outsourced it to India, the Philippines, and then we have just closed our eyes and said, okay, now everything is perfect again. So basically, I wanted to do something differently, and utilizing all the technology that we have in place today. And that's how it all started with Konsius and the Konsius Crew Planner.
Brilliant. Well, I think to have that real life experience of living in a multitude of roles within the crewing space is really interesting. And I mean, that gives you kind of great credibility to talk about the topic of today, which is going to be mainly about improving crew planning transparency.
Yeah.
Certainly with the support of technology. And we're going to go through the role of crew management as well. So from your side, you can tell us a bit about what that job function is like, mainly on the ship owner side, I guess, and how you interact with seafarers and things. So to start with, if it's okay, so you've obviously given us an overview already of how you kind of started in the shipping space. You've been there around for a long time, but can you dive into a bit more about Konsius and how the platform can support your kind of the seafarer community and the crewing managers?
Sure. I mean, we are what I consider as a microservice. We only do crew planning. We basically automate all the processes, and then we are optimizing the outcome. I mean, looking at crew planning from the outside, if you're not involved in it on a day-to-day basis, it seems very basic. You need to place a captain on board the vessel, and when he's due, you find the reliever, and so forth. But taking all the various requirements into consideration, regulatory, company, etc., then it becomes actually a very, very complex exercise.
Yeah.
So that is basically what our tool is supporting, that entire crew planning process.
Okay. And as far as your target customers in general, people you're speaking to day in day out, are they predominantly the crewing managers themselves? Are they the sort of the C-suite amongst sort of ship owners or different types of profiles?
No, it's basically head of crewings that we
Okay.
and crew managers that we are talking to and presenting our product. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. And then I guess obviously with the angle of technology now and your platform, I mean, how do you think in general the technology is helping kind of crew welfare and helping improve the lives of seafarers?
I mean, from in our case, hopefully it will, or it's not hopefully, it does add some transparency to the entire process. People will be able to get some long-term planning, and they will basically know when they will be out sailing and when they will be home on leave, not only for their next assignment, but as a couple of more assignments ahead. And we have done some surveys and asking the crew on board the vessels what is important for them, and that's basically to know what is going to happen with their lives. Because their lives is in many cases in the control of the crew managers. They decide when they go on board and also when they're relieved. So it's extremely difficult for these guys to plan their precious home time.
Sorry to interrupt you. In general, I mean, how far ahead do the seafarers typically know that they're going to be kind of on board? Is it 1 or 2 voyages at a time? Is it a certain number of months? How does it generally work?
Usually they would know their next assignment only a month before, a few weeks before. Then they have a contract, which is in many cases for officers, senior officers, for a month. But they don't necessarily know their reliever. And I mean, that creates a lot of uncertainty. Because yes, we have a contract saying that I will be relieved in 4 months, but when you don't know who is going to relieve you, it's not that what do you call that? I mean, there's so much uncertainty. So having this reliever lined up, you know exactly who it's going to be. You can actually start communicating with that person, start coordinating, creates a lot of it's just a huge relief for the officers, and also knowing when you will be home. Will you be home for your anniversary or a birthday or whatever? Suddenly you'll be able to see that, you'll be able to plan it, which is very, very unusual today.
Yeah, and when a mariner is relieved or their assignment finishes, they could, I guess, end up anywhere in the world, like far away from home. They won't get dropped off at their home port, I imagine. So who coordinates that then on that ongoing travel for them to get back home? Is it purely down to the mariner themselves, or can the crewing companies help with that?
Yeah, it very much depends on the setup with the ship owner, ship manager. In many cases, it's the crew manager coordinating that together with a travel agency. In some cases, it's the captain on board who is in charge of it. It depends on the setup.
Sorry, you can probably tell we most of our recruitment is more on the shore base in the maritime technology and the commercial shipping side. So we don't do a huge amount of crewing.
No.
Who would pay for that? Would the ship management company also pay to fly them back?
Sure. Yeah, they will. I mean, everything is organized from when they leave their home and until they reach their home again. So that is very organized.
Yeah, I met only last week. Actually, we met a company I think called Sea Teleport, and they focus on the travel arrangement side of that. So you probably see a theme. People that listen to the podcast before, the last 4 or 5 episodes, we've had a few different sort of parts of the crew management cycle on, like credentials and tenure and those Tiller in the past. So it really it's a big kind of effort of ours to try and shine the spotlight more on this.
And by the companies that you're mentioning, I mean, we are covering kind of each step in the value chain. So it's actually quite big, and lots of stuff is going on from the recruitment and from onboarding a person into a company to when he signs on the vessel for the first time, and then continuously work for the company. So a lot of stuff is going on.
Okay. And if I was a ship owner, let's say, a crewing manager, and I wanted to engage with you guys, how would it work in terms of, like, would we subscribe to your platform, your planning platform, or on an annual basis? What sort of structure would it be?
Yeah, as mentioned, I mean, again, we is what we consider as a microservice. We only do crew planning and full stop. In most cases, or in all cases, a ship owner, a ship manager, crew manager, they have their own crew management software, which basically is where you handle all the certificates, you do the payroll, etc. So what we do is that we tap into that. We are integrating with these crew management systems to get their data, and then we take it into our Konsius crew planner, and then we work with it. We create this crew plan, and then we send it back to the crew management system. And how it works from a pricing perspective, I mean, yes, it's a software as a service, and where you subscribe on a monthly basis. So quite easy way of doing
Would
it.
it vary depending on the size of the crew and the fleet, or not?
It's on the fleet size. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to share about the platform and Konsius?
No, just in general. I mean, there's so many technologies and services out there, which is really there to help and support the current operation. In our case, the crew operation. So I think it's important. I mean, the maritime industry is considered as very slow adapters, very traditional industry. So I think I will just make an effort for people is starting looking at all these new technologies, because it's really a potential for supporting the current operation and taking it to the next level.
Yeah, and I guess obviously there is an issue here why you've created the business. So how are you gathering the feedback from the crew themselves that, like, we kind of like we do one voyage and then it's sort of we're left to our own devices type of thing? Are you kind of obviously you're speaking to the crew managers on the shipping side, but you're also obviously very well connected and speaking regularly to the mariners themselves, I presume.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important that we get feedback from all stakeholders. And yes, we also getting input from the crew on board the vessels. We're doing surveys to get their input as well. So, I mean, in general, when you are building software and building a new business, it's very, very important to continuously getting input from all the stakeholders.
And who within your business would be doing that? Would it mainly be the product managers, to business analysts, or sales team, or yourself? What sort of personnel would be?
I mean, we are a rather small setup. So it's product manager, my product manager, and myself doing most of that. Then we take all the input and try to analyze and see, okay, how can we accommodate these pains which is out there, and how can we support in the best way. So I mean, that's a big part of our job.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's sort of my understanding. And I guess as you scale, you have other team members that can do certain areas of that.
Sure.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's have a little look at the sort of the role of a crewing manager specifically. So you're obviously well experienced in this area. So can you give us just a quick rundown of what is involved, like the average day of a crew manager and what it might look like?
A crew manager is pretty much involved in everything related to the crew, from the recruitment process to getting the person on board the vessel. And there's a lot of stuff in between, of course. There is the documentation part, the compliance part, the training part, ensuring that they are well prepared to go on board the vessel. It's all the travel logistic, etc. It's getting feedback on the crew on board, appraisals, follow up on that. it's very much also being in touch with the technical departments, the technical superintendent, to ensure that the right competences are on board the specific vessels. It's very much contact to the crew. In many cases, the crew manager is the only contact that the crew they have to to their employer. So of course, there's also a lot of conversation there that's going on. So pretty much, I mean, a quite a big job, I must say. And 2 days are never the same. When I started my career in crew management, I took over from a very senior guy who has been in the company, or not in the company, but in the business, the crew management business for 40 years. And he said, I mean, the beauty of this job is that you'll never experience the same twice. There will always be new things coming up. You're learning every day. So I mean, that is really spot on.
Yeah, I bet. Obviously, dealing with completely different nationalities and languages, cultures, and things. So, I mean, even just communicating, was it mainly done? Was English like the standardized language, or was it? Did you have to adapt to different
English is pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. All right. So, I guess obviously not everything runs smoothly. So you must occasionally do things like delays of getting crew on board, or any obviously instances that happen at sea. So, especially with security and everything happening at the moment on board vessels, it's very kind of key and tense role, I would have thought at times.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite dynamic. I mean, we're dealing with human beings here, so things are changing all the time. There might be a sick relief that you have to deal with as a crew manager. Suddenly you have to find a reliever. I mean, anything can happen. There might be a delay with one of the flights, and then a connecting flight is missed, and the vessel will be leaving before the person is arriving the port. So then you have to find a plan B. There might be some issues with the visa, etc. So I mean, it's really ever changing environment, and which you have to adapt to all the time.
It sounds very big role. And I mean, what talk do you find generally ex-mariners go into crew management roles, or is it a mixture in general of different?
I mean, it's pretty much a mix, I would say. But yes and no. I mean, there's a lot of people with a maritime background, a seafarer background. Yeah, but you will also see people like myself with no sailing background. Yeah, so pretty much a mix, I will say.
Yeah, I guess if they are the main voice of the shore team and company, you're probably going to have someone that's spent a bit of time on onshore and knows all the processes and policies and things. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so any kind of tips just off the top of your head for kind of crew managers to help sort of improve their processes or streamline their general kind of crew planning processes?
I would say be open for new technologies. They are here to support you. Don't be afraid. I saw one ad for an AI product which says that AI took my job, and then there was with small letters to the next level.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, and I basically think that is spot on. I mean, you might see digital services, digital tools, which is automating processes, make it much easier. They're not here to take any jobs. I mean, it's basically to free up time so you can focus on the real stuff. And in our case, it's basically to deal with people instead of doing administrative work. So I mean, be open-minded, not afraid of testing new things, and yeah, that I think that's the best tip I can give.
Okay, good. Actually, and in general, what sort of barriers do you see that might impact kind of the transparency, as we talked about, for crew planning and between crew and shore? Anything in particular do you think that might restrict sort of the improvement of this area?
I mean, I think it's really. I mean, very often, in many cases, you have the onshore organization, and then you have the vessel, the offshore organization. And I mean, you have to open up and say, okay, we are one big team. Our goal is the same. And you have to break down that barrier, which is, as I see in many cases, that is the case. That is definitely a risk here. If you're not willing to break that barrier and say, okay, we are one big team, let's have full transparency, let's work together. If they still consider, okay, we are the onshore team, we should be in full control, we will not tell anything, then you can't have the transparency, obviously, and then you'll continue working as two units. So it's also a matter of culture. So that's really that is a risk for not having sufficient transparency in the business.
Yeah, and how is that communication generally flowed or transferred from the shore to the person on board the ship? Is it just the chief officer or whoever is speaking mainly to the crew managers? Do they then translate it and send it down across the team, or is there like almost like an internal intranet type of thing where like maybe there can be some sort of updates, company news?
It very much depends on the company, but most communication is done through the captain or the chief engineer on board. I have seen some technology actually supporting the communication between the entire crew and the shore side of the organization. Not many companies have adopted it yet, but I think that is definitely where new technology can bring in another dimension to the operation. So right now, and in many cases, it's very much controlled by crew managers and the senior senior officers on board the vessels.
Yeah, I guess obviously it's the whole connectivity piece kind of like dictates how the advancement technology can advance and the pace it can advance at. But yeah, I mean, we little things like we have here in my team. I've got people in the Philippines and Greece and the UK, and we're on Slack every day. Little things like that we have on the shore that we just take for granted. Anything like that where a mariner or any particular person could reach out or share some sort of concern or something would be really useful.
Yeah, indeed.
Good. All right. Awesome. Well, no, thank you so much. I've personally got definitely a better idea now of the crew management role and how they interact with each person on board ships and shore. So, anything else you'd like to share on the topic, or you cool to wrap things up?
No, I think that I really much appreciate the focus that we see on the crew at the moment. I mean, in many years, we have sort of forgotten all about the crew. They have just been on board the vessels. But I see more and more focus on the crew welfare side of it, which I really appreciate and I think is very important. At the end of the day, the vessel is just steel, and without a competent and a good crew on board, it's basically nothing. So I'm happy that the crew and crew welfare is on the agenda in today's shipping.
Good. Well, yeah, we can obviously try. We're trying to sort of showcase as many companies and and yeah, in the area as well. So we're trying to sort of shine more of a spotlight on that. But from your point of view, obviously, I like to always ask people a bit about themselves. So, anything you can share, like outside of work, like in terms of hobbies or in things you're particularly interested in?
Um, well, I mean, a lot of stuff. I obviously have my family,
Yeah.
which I love spending time with. I play as much tennis as possible.
Oh, wow.
Um, I'm a big fan of food and wine, traveling, and yeah, well, I very much enjoy this adventure, which is on with Konsius. So yeah, um, just having a good time. That's the most important.
Do you find you're able to balance that, like have some time to play tennis and see family as well as obviously help grow the business, or do you struggle at times?
I mean, if I want, I can obviously work around the clock. There's so much to do all the time, but I think it's important to acknowledge that you can't sprint a marathon. Um, I want to be around for long time, and this is not conscious. It's not just something we do for the next week. We are here for the long term. So you have to take care of yourself, of course. Otherwise, the yeah, you will be out of business, and that's not worth it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, I'm really, really grateful for you to coming on the show, and especially the energy and the effort you're putting into an investment into crew welfare and trying to make their lives easier. It is awesome. So thank you very much. If anybody would like to reach out to you to have a chat or to learn more about the Conscious platform, what's the best way for them to do so?
Um, uh, LinkedIn, I would say. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. Also, visit our website where you get my contact details. Just reach out. I'm always open for a chat, networking, um, a cup of coffee, a virtual cup of coffee. Uh, let's see if I can help anyone. I'm happy to do that. Yeah, just expand my network. So yeah, please get in touch.
Excellent. And what's the website address?
It's conscious.com.
Conscious with a K. Excellent. All right. Great. Well, thank you so much, Sue. Really, really good to speak to you, and we'll catch up again soon. Hopefully, the guys at home enjoyed the episode.